I was branded a pervert and a creep for something I didn't do. For 10 years, I saw every girl as a threat, until an anime character taught me how to trust again. On my first day of middle school, I was walking back to class from the bathroom. The boys' and girls' rooms were next to each other. As I left, a girl from my class came out from the girls' room. I didn't think anything of it, but she had other ideas. When we got back to class, she told everyone I was trying to look at her when she was in the bathroom. I denied it. After all, I didn't do it. And then she started to cry. At that point, the truth didn't matter. I became the creep, the pervert, and those labels stuck for years. From that day on, I viewed every girl as a potential accuser, and I stayed away from them. Even though some of them had good intentions, I had to protect myself. Even puberty wasn't enough to change my mind. 10 years later, I watched The Rising of the Shield Hero, and in the first episode, Mine falsely accused Naofumi of rape. I felt a sense of deja vu, and I felt the same humiliation, the same burning anger. I knew exactly what he was going through. When I kept watching, I noticed that after the initial shock and anger, Naofumi's response was different from mine, and after a while, he slowly and painfully found a way to trust people again. So what did Naofumi do differently? This is how anime taught me to trust women again after a huge betrayal. I learned to love myself. After the accusation, I was hated a lot by my classmates, and I desperately tried to change my reputation. At that point, I was one of the smartest kids in class, and I was one of the best kids in our grade in football, but I couldn't escape the hate or the label of pervert. The other kids thought it was okay to mock me, and they also insulted me about other things, like my belongings, my looks, and other stuff. It made me hate myself. When I got to high school, they forgot about the pervert reputation, but the bullying continued. It was only after I left that toxic environment that I could begin to learn to love myself and take care of myself. I had a lot of good meals, slept well, played football a lot, and I had fun. Naofumi did that too. After the false accusation, he only focused on himself and he only did what he wanted to do, even though the whole kingdom hated him. He learned to love himself and he only focused on his improvements. At that point, he was the only one he could trust, and he learned how to make jewelry and medicines, and he discovered other things about himself. So if you're going through a similar situation, the first thing is to feel the anger and sadness. You're human after all, so you should be allowed to feel those emotions. Then after that, take care of yourself and love yourself. That's the most important step. Remind yourself of your worth and your strengths, and you feel way better. Loving myself gave me a foundation, but the real test came when I was forced to rely on others, so I started small. Back in uni, a professor said that the presentation for his course would be in groups, and he made sure that every group had guys and girls. And to make things worse, I was the group leader. The presentation was worth a lot of marks, so I had to get a good grade. When I was splitting the work between the members, I decided not to take risks and gave the crucial part to myself and the guys, and then I gave the girls the parts that weren't so vital, so they were free to mess up. I wasn't counting on them, but if they did well, they could get a near perfect score. I made the slides and assigned the rules, and when we had the presentation, the girls did so well and we got 90%. That was almost perfect. After the presentation, I decided to take a risk and try to be friends with them. I also started being open to having more female friends. When Naofumi discovered that he couldn't fight alone, he didn't look for a party member since everyone hated him and he'll probably get betrayed again. He bought a slave, a raccoon girl called Raftala instead. During their battles, he discovered that he could trust Raftala to be his sword, and little by little, he opened his heart to her, and that's the first step he took to start trusting others. So if you don't trust others but you need to work with them, don't give them important rules. If they decide to mess up, it won't hurt you so much anyway, and if they do it right, you might just find a great partner or a friend. After that, I started looking for people I can trust. I started hanging out with the girls in the group, who by the way are called Mira, Sue, and Danny, and since hanging out with them was fun, I decided to have a few more female friends. Since I learned I could trust them, I looked for other people who shared their traits, and the safest way to do that was to be friends with their friends, and I did that. There was a time I hosted a mini-game tournament in my school, and I felt a bit sick. Sue noticed that and said, "Do you want to come to my place as it's closer?" And I said, "Yeah, thanks." When we got to her place, she gave me cold drinks, a meal, and some medicine, and I felt a lot better. 6 months after that, I was leaving my old place, and then Sue said, "Do you want to move to my place? I'm living with 2 girls and 2 guys, and if you move in, it'll even up the numbers." And I said, "I'll be happy to." Those times was so fun. They're probably the best roommates I've ever had. When Naofumi saw how much Tate cared for him, he knew he could trust her, and Tate also knew she could trust Naofumi because he treated her better than anyone else. After that, Naofumi got other allies like Philo and Melty, and since he found people he could trust, it made the hate a lot more bearable. So if you're looking for people you can trust, pay attention to their actions and not their words. Trustworthy people are usually reliable, loyal, and honest, and if you can find people with those traits, you can make friends with them. My friendship with Sue made me realize that not everyone is a betrayer. During my time staying with Sue, Tori, and Nikki, I had fun, and Sue and Tori helped me when I needed it, especially Sue. There were some times I was very broke, and Sue gave me money to get something to eat. She'd even cook a meal for me sometimes, and anytime I needed her, she was always happy to help. She was a godsend. Tori also helped me out sometimes, and her sense of humor was elite. When Naofumi found more allies like the Queen of Melomark and his other friends, he discovered that everyone isn't out to betray him, and he relied on them and trusted them. The Queen cleared his name, and she punished her daughter for falsely accusing him of rape. Your friends might make mistakes, but that doesn't mean everyone is out to sabotage you. So if you're unsure, pay close attention to their actions, and if you're sure that this person is doing it on purpose, cut them off. And if you're unsure, it might be a mistake. The other person is human, just like you, and we can't be perfect all the time. If you feel that everyone who makes a mistake is betraying you, you're just hurting yourself. That's the story of how I got betrayed, lost trust in women, and how anime helped me. Some days after I moved to Sue's place, I met a girl called Faye, and we hit it off instantly. She hung out at my place often, but one day, she needed my help. She was blackmailed by her ex, and I helped her with it. After that, she asked me, "Do you want to be my best friend?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" And we became best friends. She's been my support for a couple of years, and if I wasn't able to let go of my mistrust in women, I'd have missed out on the fun conversations, the banter, the advice, and the really good moments. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment if you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in another story about my friendship with Sue, she's also in this video. It's a video about how anime teaches you to let go of regrets. Don't forget to take care of yourself, drink water, watch anime, and have fun. And I'll see you in the next video. Jania.